Time now for Wellness Wednesday, sponsored by Mountain State Wellness.
Welcome back. Joining us now are Doctors Lucas and Amy Watterson from Mountain State Wellness. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Yes.
We love having you guys. And for our viewers at home, remind them a little bit about what Mountain State Wellness is.
Okay, so now Mountain State Wellness is an upper cervical chiropractic practice.
Yes.
We specialize in detecting neck injuries to the very top part of the spine. There's two little tiny bones there. One's called the atlas, the one underneath is called the axis, and they're the most susceptible bones to sustain an injury from a whiplash or concussion or something like that. Okay. And they literally can shift. They can shift and get stuck in a position that's several millimeters either to the left or to the right. They can even rotate a little bit. And when that happens, it starts to cause neurological injury to the top of the spinal cord, which is eventually going to begin to develop into discomfort or dysfunction somewhere in the human body.
Wow. The atlas and the axis.
So all of this happens when you just experience any type of spinal injury, basically.
Correct.
All of these things are going on. It's not just my neck hurts.
Yes.
Correct.
Right?
So what happens is the tissue around the spine tears loose, like the ligaments, the tendons, and the muscles, and that's what allows the bone to actually shift out of place.
Okay.
And then what happens is those tissues splint the spine out of place down into a locked position, and so then you get stuck there.
Wow.
And what does is it puts pressure in the central nervous system, which is what Dr. Lucas talked about, and the central nervous system is the master system of the body.
Yes.
It controls every movement, every sensation, control and regulation of your internal organs, as well as your ability to relate and have a conversation.
Oh my goodness. What types of injuries do you guys see mostly? Like what viewers, would be good patients?
Or are they mainly sleeping injuries? Like what Holly
Mine's
suffers
sleep.
from?
Mine's sleep.
She injures herself when she sleeps.
Yeah, well, I'm sure if we actually examined her history completely, we'd find some other significant injury in the past.
Maybe.
And the sleep is actually just exacerbating the injury that's there.
Interesting. So there's a bit of detective work
That's
here.
really what happens,
Absolutely.
yes. Okay. The three most common injuries that we see in our practice, because understand, a spinal injury can happen from just a simple slip and fall in your home, maybe, right? But the more obvious ones are things like concussion type injuries. You essentially, it takes so much force to have a concussion on your head that you can't also subsequently injure your neck at the same time. Okay, so anybody who's had a concussion injury more than likely has a subsequent undetected underlying neck injury also needs to be addressed.
Well, hello.
Right?
I played football for my whole life, and I'm pretty sure I've suffered a few concussions.
Correct. So concussion is a very frequent one. Whiplash, of course, with the automobile, right? I mean, we're so dependent upon cars these days in our society. Any type of, even a simple bump in the Kroger parking lot can cause your head to actually go like this and cause a whiplash injury, right? So a whiplash injury.
Simple.
That's simple, yes. Yep. In fact, many lawyers know that there's no relationship to how much damage was done to the car compared to how much damage was done to your neck.
Aha. Okay. I think I might call you for law as well. There you go.
Tips for Hayhurst Law.
Yeah. And then the third injury, which maybe Dr. Amy can talk more about, is C-section birth in babies, actually.
Oh, you don't think
Wow,
about
I
that.
never would have thought of this.
Right.
Talk about this.
So what we actually find is that there are times that a cesarean section is needed, and that they actually open the mom to get the head out so that the baby can breathe. But often what they use is the head and neck to actually get the shoulders out, which are actually wider than the head and neck. And so they're actually stretching that tissue that holds that little spine in place. And so we have a lot of little babies that come because they're having dysfunction. Now they're not necessarily in pain, but they're having like reflux, or they're having constipation, or they're not sleeping, or they're having more of that colicky symptoms that the mom and dads are finding they're inconsolable. And so the idea is that if the nervous system's disturbed because the spine is out of alignment, they're having dysfunction in their body that the little baby shouldn't be having.
How young is your youngest patient?
We've adjusted as little as 11 days.
Holy cow. So this isn't just something for older folks or people who've been beat up like me. This is for all ages. And now, obviously, you guys treat and mitigate the impacts of the immediate injuries. When people get hurt, you want them to feel better right then and there, right? But there's something like these long-term effects of these kind of injuries, right? And you guys also treat this kind of
so many people, I say unfortunately, come to us when they're, let's say, over 50 years of age, right? And they've had an injury somewhere in their history, as we mentioned earlier. There's a history of a car accident or an athletic injury or falling from a horse or a skiing accident or something. And by the time they're born, by the time they're 50, though, the symptoms are beginning to mature in such a way that it's disturbing their quality of life significantly that they start seeking the answers. Now, the traditional route, because of the major healthcare system we have that relies on medicine, is to seek out medical care, right? But then when they get the examinations from the medical doctors in that profession, they just say, we don't really know what's causing this, and we don't really know how we can help you. and they continue to search. And when they search in upper cervical chiropractic care, upper cervical care, or even NUCA, which is the analogy for the organization that we use, we come up in the state of West Virginia, right? The long-term effects of leaving it there are developing all kinds of chronic conditions which are neurologically based, some of which are, first of all, the spine begins to break down with arthritic changes much more rapidly the longer it's injured, right? Secondly, we know that when the spine's been injured, it's no longer a spinal injury, it actually turns into a brain injury. Because we know that brain function begins to actually deteriorate more rapidly in people that have had whiplash and concussion injuries. So if you leave the spinal injury undetected, you're going to have premature cognitive decline or memory issues. Even conditions like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's can develop because the brain is negatively affected by the neck injury. Long-term effects are devastating, and so the sooner someone consults our office after an injury, whether it's a brand new baby or it's someone had an athletic injury at age 18, the better we can get it corrected and save them from years of discomfort.
Make time for your health today, people. Holy cow. Otherwise, you will be paying for it tomorrow, apparently.
Dr. Amy, where can our viewers go and seek that appointment?
Yes, so you can find our website at mtnstatewellness.com. or you can actually find us on all social media platforms.
There you go.
Fabulous. You guys, thanks so much for stopping by. Every time you come, I learn so much because you think, oh, it's just no, it's a lot. It's your whole
and
body.
if you're sick of being in pain, guys, get in touch with Mountain State Wellness, please,
There we
guys.
go,
And we will be right back after this.